Hey folks, Pat here from DNS. This Madison area fishing report is current as of July 14th. Got a lot of stuff to talk about here, but just a couple quick things first. Uh, Fishing Has No Boundaries event went off last weekend without a hitch. They had some beautiful weather, good attendance. They got some fish, and nice smallmouth here. Nice little walleye there. Got a dandy walleye down here. Looks like I guess this one was 22 inches. So yeah, folks were getting some fish. Just wanted to take a sec to thank everybody that organized that event and volunteers for it. The folks that volunteer their boats to take these folks out. I know that it's some of these folks' favorite day of the year when they get to go out and fish, and it's not something they get to do every day. So it's real special for them. Of course, we're happy to support the event here at the shop. We donate bait to it. And if you're interested in donating, you can go on their website here, FHNB Madison. They got a get involved if you want to volunteer. They got a donate tab. But yeah, great group of folks doing great work out there. So thanks again for that. A little bit of shop news here. I made a post last night, but we've got this driftless starter pack fly set up here. 40 flies that are all very effective flies in the driftless area here. Got a little package put together. $69 includes the box. Pretty good deal. And yeah, like Harley and I put our heads together to pick these flies out, and they're all proven patterns that we use ourselves. The Atollas Fly Caddy is a new product here. It's a foam pad that has a clip on it. You can clip it to a hat, clip it to your vest, clip it to your visor in your car to show all your friends how cool you are because you fly fish. But yeah, it's a cool little thing. They come in two sizes. Small here, you can see on the hat, and then an extra large here. But it's a neat product. Happy to start carrying that. And then DNS hats. We got new hats in finally, so I got a restock of those here, a bunch of different colors. So swing in and grab one. I wanted to point out a poster we got on the front door. The Wisconsin Backcountry Hunters and Anglers is a group. I think they're only about 5 years old, so kind of a newer group, but they're dedicated to preserving and conserving public land. So doing some good work out there. They got their Wisconsin kind of annual meeting August 5th up in Wausau. So if you want to check that out, please do. They're a great group of folks doing some great work out there. A little late on the report this morning because had a guy come in, and I have a certified scale. You can see it here, but this is likely going to be the new Wisconsin state record channel catfish shot with a bow. So bow fishing record. We have a certified scale here at the shop. So if you want to bring in a fish, you can get it weighed here, and I can be a witness. I was a witness to these guys. Isaac Gunlock, his name is. Here I got a picture of him in front of the shop with it. Really is just a giant catfish, just a tank. Really impressive in person how really, really large this fish is. And yeah, so congrats to Isaac. And yeah, they got to check it with a DNR fish biologist and a couple other things, probably a form to fill out somewhere along the line. But yeah, looks like it'll be the new state record bowfish or bow fishing channel catfish caught here in Wisconsin. So congrats again to Isaac Gunlock. That was 25 3/4 pounds. Sorry, I don't think I mentioned that. Otherwise, we can get into the report here. We finally got a bunch of rain here in Madison. So on Wednesday, we got, I think, 1 3/4. It was an all-day soaker rain, too, so that's going to help all the plants and crops and grass and everything here. We got another bunch of rain last night. I haven't checked, but it came down pretty good there for a while. Yesterday afternoon, too, we got dumped on. So yeah, nice to finally get some rain. Looks and it was nice and cool yesterday. It's gonna be kind of warm today, warm tomorrow, but looks like into next week, Sunday and into next week, is gonna be low 80s was the highest I saw, maybe like 82 for the whole week. So beautiful weather to get out there and do some fishing. The Mendota buoy out here off Picnic Point read 73.8 degrees this morning, so water temps have come down a few degrees from this time last week. I heard Monona was at 76 on Sunday, but of course that's been a while ago now. Of course, you'll find warmer water in shallow bays and protected areas, but yeah, Mendota's running at 73.8. It sounds like slimy weeds generally around the chain. It sounds like slimy weeds are still a problem in spots, but I do hear water clarity ranges from pretty good to great depending on where you're fishing. It's also reflected on the Dane County website here, the beach water quality. All the beaches are open except for Schluter. Schluter's been having some troubles this year, so it's been, I guess, some algae blooms over there or something. But anyway, most of the water is looking pretty clear and good for fishing. Gills are done spawning and moving out to deeper weed lines. Perch reports remain spotty, but the fish I do hear about are being picked up right on the weed edges. Redworms, spikes, waxies have all been working for all the panfish in the area. Largemouth bass remain shallow around the chain, and smallmouth bass and walleye are showing up in good numbers on mid-lake humps as we continue on into summer here. Pike are plentiful, and the muskie bite still seems to be a little slow, at least from what I hear at the shop. All areas and rivers have come up a little bit with the rain we got, but are still running on the low end for their seasonal averages for this time of year. A little more detail here. We'll get up into Cherokee. Still a weedy mess up there at that Cherokee Park, but if you can launch down here at School Road launch, I'm sure you can get a canoe or a kayak in there, or a small, John boat or something, and you can get out here into the channel. You can fish the weed edges out there, and I've been hearing about a lot of pike up there, and some nice largemouth bass. Down here to the 113 bridge, got great catfish fishing down there still. I'm not sure where those guys got that bow fish. I know it was on Mendota, but I don't know where. But the 113 bridge is a catfish magnet, and they're still getting fish down there from shore. Some really nice ones still. But a lot of the catfish have dispersed out into the main lake here. So you'll find a lot of those fish anywhere shallow, and a lot at night can be a great time to target those fish. But generally on Lake Mendota, though, the gills are done spawning and are being picked up a little deeper now in 10 to 15 feet of water on weed lines. Haven't heard anything about crappies lately, and the perch bite on the weed lines is very spotty, but the folks that are getting into fish are getting them, like I said, right on the weed lines, as close as you can get, and the more defined of a weed edge that you can find, the better. Largemouth bass action remains good shallow, and smallmouth bass and walleye are being found in 15 to 20 feet of water near shoreline breaks and on mid-lake humps. Although I am hearing about some walleye found suspended out over deep water. If you got the forward-facing sonar, that's how folks are able to pick these fish up. They see them out there just randomly over deep water, about 10 to 15 feet down. I'm also hearing about reports of some nice walleye being caught surprisingly shallow, as little as 3 feet of water. So that's kind of unusual for this time of year. But again, that forward-facing sonar is really opening up a lot of things for what we know about fishing, or are learning about fishing, I guess you could say. Tenney Park continues to be productive. Again, good reports above the locks here on the breakwall. Some nice largemouth bass in the lagoon itself. The water, or the fishing below the locks and in the river here, has been slow the last week or so. But with this rain we got, I bet that's pushing some current up there. And usually when the current comes up, some fish start to push up there. So I would expect that fishing to improve. On Lake Monona, I haven't heard much in the way, I haven't heard much in the way of floating weeds being a problem, but the slimy filamentous algae has made a bit of a comeback in areas, so that's a little bit of a problem. Gills are off their beds and hungry. Look for those fish out a little deeper in 10 to 15 feet of water near the bottom, and I am starting to hear about gills suspending out over deep water. The shallow gills, the Olbrich Park area is a good place to look. Off Olin, down here, anywhere you can find that kind of weed line area, 10 to 15 feet of water if you're looking for the shallow gills. Otherwise, the deep water gills are going to be suspended out. I've heard of it as shallow as 30 feet of water, but they're going to continue to move out more and more as the summer goes on. Look for those fish, 10 to 15 feet down below the surface, and you can just drift around and find schools of them. So you got to sort through some fish out there, but they are definitely getting some fish for sure. Down on Monona Bay, good bluegill population in there as well. Some largemouth bass, some good pike coming out of there. A nice mixed bag as usual in Monona Bay. Lake Wingers, a bunch of tiny gills in there, some largemouth bass, and some the occasional decent muskie off on the Monona Terrace wall at the convention center there. They're getting good bluegill action during the day, although you got to sort through quite a few fish, and the crappie bite continues to be good, usually starting about 4 o'clock and then until dark, and even after dark they're getting some good crappies over there. Haven't heard much really out of Cherville Bay or Weechawuk Bay, but I'm sure that those are panfish magnets. It's definitely worth a look if you're in the area. Upper Mud over here still sounds very clogged with weeds, but folks are still getting fish along weed edges out here in the channel. Some good bass and a lot of pike out there too. Wabisa is generally the same situation as Monona. Gills are out in that 10 to 15 feet of water, maybe a little deeper now as things warm up here. Find those fish all over the lake. You got good walleye action near Hog Island up here, Babcock Park down to Bible Camp is a good area. A lot of folks getting fish trolling, crawler harnesses. I haven't heard much in the way of muskies over here, but I guess I don't really hear much in the way of muskies here at the shop, period. Um, Down here on Lake Kegonsa, got the water down there sounds like it's very clear. Sounds like floating weeds have been a little bit of a problem. I talked to one guy yesterday who said that he was having some trouble getting fouled up, but Kegonsa continues to produce some good gills, some nice big gills on weed edges, and walleyes too, the occasional walleye coming through there. Otherwise, out here off the state park in a little deeper water near breaks, they're also getting walleyes. I know the Yahara Fishing Club had one of their on the water outings last night. I haven't heard exactly how folks did there, but I imagine they got into some good fish. So yeah, if you want to learn more about fishing, the Yahara Fishing Club is a great way to do it, and they do those on the water meetings. If you don't even have a boat, somebody will take you out in their boat and show you around. It's really a great group. Down in the Rock River, Indian Ford Dam, nice big mixed bag of fish there. Haven't heard much specifically out of Koshkonong. I know that they were doing well trolling crawler harnesses and flicker shads. Up here near where the Rock River comes in is a pretty safe bet, Black Hawk Island area. Otherwise, upriver, you never really know what you'll get in a river, especially up at the Jefferson Dam. A nice mixed bag up there too, and some catfish showing up there. It's a kind of a sleeper flathead catfish spot. Down to Beaver or up to Beaver Dam, good eater catfish bite going on up there still. We got Crystal Lake over here near Lodi is got a good yellow bass bite going on and some good crappies after dark. I heard they're still getting some good fish up on Devil's Lake up here. Got I heard the trout are down a little deep, 30 feet of water, but some good gills, shallower. On the river, I guess I haven't checked the flows just this morning, but I know yesterday they were still running low. Like I said, they came up a little bit with the rain we got, but the action's been great with this low water up and down the river. That low water tends to concentrate fish in deeper areas. So all you got to do is look on these corners behind islands, sandbars and stuff, and you'll find some deeper water, and you'll likely find fish. Smallmouth action with topwater frogs is great and will only get better as the summer goes on. Otherwise, subsurface lures, spinners, flies, anything flashy has been good for those fish. Prairie du Sac Dam, nice mixed bag of fish up there. Water has been low. I imagine it came up with some of the rain we got, but still running low for this time of year. I think a lot of the rain just gets soaked right up in the ground rather than running off. Lake Wisconsin, haven't heard a lot out of there specifically this week, but they've been doing well. All of June was great up there. Trolling crawler harnesses, panfish in 10 to 15 feet of water, crappies near wood, and some nice perch showing up. So Lake Wisconsin's been fishing well lately. Wisconsin Dells Dam, I haven't heard a lot up there. Nice mixed bag of fish in there, though. Just like all the dams, I feel like a broken record sometimes, because every dam, including Castle Rock Dam, Petenwell Dam up here, all these spots have wonderful mixed bag of fish, especially in the summertime. Do some good catfish, and you never really know what you'll find. Otherwise, on Castle Rock Lake, I heard it was a bit green up there this week, or the last couple weeks, but they are still getting fish trolling in 15, 20 feet of water. Jigging a little deeper, 25 to 30 feet of water, getting some walleye and white bass. Petenwell is kind of the same thing, still green, depends on what the wind is doing. It sounds like one end of the lake can be better than the other, depending on the wind as far as the algae goes, but still producing good walleye. Sounds like a jig with half a crawler near drop-offs has been good. But I have heard that a couple of reports of fish coming out of surprisingly shallow water up there too. So, I guess that's a thing. Pool 8 over here on the Mississippi and 9. I've been hearing about some good walleye and gills near wing dams, crappies near shoreline wood, and good pike action near weed lines. Over to the Milwaukee area, not much going on out on the lake unless you're got a charter boat out there. But looks like they have been getting some nice kings and cohos out deep. Otherwise, the Milwaukee River here also running very, very low right now, but there is a good bite for smallmouth and pike. Again, that low water concentrates the fish in deeper holes, so they're easy to find. Action seems to be best usually in the mornings and evenings, and you can kind of beat that summer heat for that. Otherwise, trout fishing in the area, even though we got some rain, streams are mostly running clear and still a little bit low. Weeds in the banks are getting taller, with poison parsnip becoming common in many areas. Between the parsnip and the nettles, navigating the banks is a little tricky this time of year. Also want to remind folks with this heat, once the water hits that 67-degree mark, trout get stressed when they're caught. So keep an eye on the stream temps, but they should be good. This week it looks great with, like I said, highs in the 80s, lows in the low 60s, and upper 50s. So that'll keep the streams nice and fishable this next week. As far as hatches go, sporadic hatches of mayflies come off this time of year. Mostly in the early morning and evening, but we're full on into terrestrial season, so patterns like ants, beetles, and crickets, hoppers are becoming more common. So these are certainly your best bet for targeting fish, and some big fish you can get out there with those larger terrestrial patterns, especially if there aren't fish rising to mayflies. Otherwise, woolly buggers and nymphs are effective anytime fish aren't looking up, and spinning gear, per usual, panther martins, tube jigs, rapalas are all fantastic. And of course, redworms under a bobber is really probably the most effective way to catch trout just about anywhere. I guess that pretty much does it for the report. Feel free to call the shop at 241-4225 if you have any questions about anything we talked about here or need any more details. Happy to try to point you in the right direction. Otherwise, I appreciate you all tuning in, and yeah, we'll talk next week. Good luck out there. Take care.